guys, it's Tessa from HandleTheHeat.com, and today I'm sharing with you my recipe for easy snowflake sugar cookies. Now this recipe actually serves a crowd, so it's perfect for any holiday celebration. These gorgeous and festive cookies are way easier than you think, and I'm going to be sharing with you all of my time-saving shortcuts and tips so you can bake and decorate these cookies with ease so your holiday season is effortless. Now this video is actually a part of my holiday baking bonanza, which I'm co-hosting with bakerbynature.com. We're teaming up to give you the best recipes, tips, tricks, resources, and even giveaways throughout this entire holiday season. And actually, KitchenAid has generously provided me with this stand mixer to bake throughout the holiday season, and they're giving me one to give away to one of you. So if you want to learn how you can win one of these gorgeous stand mixers, then be sure to watch this video all the way to the end to get the details on that giveaway. Let's go ahead and get started with this easy snowflake sugar cookie recipe. Alright, so our first step, pretty much like with any cookie recipe, is to cream the butter and the sugar together in an electric mixer. So I have 3 sticks of unsalted room temperature butter. And the trick with making cookies is that you actually want to use butter that's at a cool room temperature. If your cookie dough ever gets too warm, then it will probably spread and flatten too much while it's baking in the oven. And we especially don't want that with cutout cookies because we want them to keep their gorgeous shape. Next, I'm adding in 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. And I'll go ahead and attach my beater blade here. And this will cream on medium-high speed for about 3 minutes or until it's lightened in color and really light and fluffy. And this is going to help incorporate air into the cookie dough so that the cookies rise and lift and are nice and soft and light. Okay, so my butter and sugar has been creaming for about 2 minutes. So now I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure that it all gets incorporated evenly. All right, so my butter and sugar is all creamed. Next up, I can add in my eggs and extracts. And like always, the full ingredient measurements and everything you need to know to make this recipe at home will be listed down below. So I have 2 whole eggs, large size, that are at room temperature, and I'm just going to add those in one at a time until they're incorporated. And again, I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure everything is being evenly incorporated. Now this recipe is actually from my ebook, Tessa's Christmas Cookies, where I have tons of fun Christmas cookie recipes, decorating ideas, packaging ideas, gift tags, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll be sure to link that down below. Next up, I'm going to add my extracts. So classically, sugar cookies have just a dash of almond extract, and this helps to give that kind of sweet flavor that will remind you of the sugar cookies from your favorite bakery. If you don't have almond extract, you can totally leave it out. It's not a big deal, but it just helps to add another element of flavor. So I'm just adding in about 1/4 teaspoon. And next I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of vanilla paste. Now again, if you don't have vanilla paste, you can totally use regular vanilla extract, but I love to use vanilla paste because it's so potent in flavor and it adds those little specks of vanilla bean that just makes these cookies look super gourmet and taste incredible. I'm just going to give that a quick mix. So next up are my dry ingredients. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And this recipe makes about 40 sugar cookies depending on the size and shape that you cut them out with. But if you did want to make less for a smaller group, you could easily cut this recipe in half. So now I'm adding in all-purpose flour. I'm going to add about 1/2 so I don't get flour everywhere when I turn the mixer on. All right, so my dough has come together, it's totally done, and next up we're going to actually roll it out. And the way that I like to make sugar cookies, which is a total shortcut and makes them so much easier in my opinion, is to actually roll the dough out while it's at room temperature. Traditionally, sugar cookies the dough is actually chilled in the fridge and then you roll it out while it's chilled, but I find that to be difficult. It takes a lot of upper body strength, and when you have tons of things going on throughout the holiday season, that's the last thing you need. And actually part of the reason why I love to roll out this dough while it's nice and pliable and at room temperature is because it kind of feels like you're working with Play-Doh, and so it makes making these cookies with kids, whether it be your kids or your grandkids, really, really fun, and such a fun way to get the family together for the holidays. So another time-saving shortcut which prevents you from making a huge mess you have to clean up later is we're actually going to roll out the sugar cookie dough in between 2 pieces of parchment paper. Instead of flouring a work surface and getting dough stuck to everything, the parchment paper makes this super simple and easy. And so I'm just going to spoon about half this dough onto 1 sheet of parchment paper and get started rolling that out. And the nice thing about a big mixing bowl like this one that comes on the professional series stand mixer is that if you wanted to make even more cookies, you could totally fit even a double batch of this recipe to make 80 cookies in this massive bowl. All right, so I'm just going to press this down a little bit and then pop my other sheet of parchment paper right on top, grab my rolling pin and start rolling. And I like to spin it around just a quarter turn with every roll so that I can be sure that it's going out evenly. We're looking for about a 1/4 inch in thickness. If you like your sugar cookies really thick, you could do closer to a little bit larger than a 1/4 inch, but you don't want to go too much bigger than that to keep their really pretty shapes once we go cut them out. Okay, so I've just finished rolling out my dough. It looks to be about a 1/4 inch thickness. It's nice and even. So now I'm just going to grab this, place it on a baking tray and pop it into the fridge to chill for about an hour. Now with cutout cookies, they do require extra time because we have to roll out the dough, cut out the shapes, chill it, and so because of those extra time-consuming steps, I've actually gone ahead and created a make-ahead baking guide for you. It details specifically how you can make cookies ahead of time, as well as pies, cakes, frostings, everything you need for the entire holiday baking season so that you can be prepared and relaxed when family comes over. So for cookies, the dough can be chilled, the cookies can be chilled and frozen, and actually cutout cookies freeze particularly well, so you could make this weeks ahead of time to have it ready to go for when you have company over. Okay, so my cookie dough sheet has been chilling and it's nice and firm, so if you want another shortcut, instead of chilling it in the fridge for an hour, if you have the room, you can actually freeze it for about a half hour to get it nice and firm and ready for us to use our Snowflake cookie cutters. Now, I will go ahead and link to these down below. I got a cute set. You can usually find these whenever the holiday season rolls around at any baking store. I'm just going to peel the parchment paper back, super easy, and start cutting my shapes. Now, of course, if you don't want to do snowflake shapes, feel free to do any shape you want. I'm just going to press them in and get all of my shapes cut. And then once all my shapes are cut, I will actually go ahead and re-roll the scraps together, roll those out and cut some more shapes out of that, just so I can be sure I'm really taking advantage of all this gorgeous dough that I have. You also don't want the dough to be too cold, otherwise it'll be brittle and break apart. So there's kind of a perfect in-between. And if you find your dough is too cold, let it sit at room temperature until it's a little bit more malleable. If it's too warm, pop it back in the fridge or the freezer until it firms up. Now, as I'm cutting out all of my shapes and as my oven is preheating, I'm actually going to keep my cut shapes in the fridge so they stay nice and cool, because what you really don't want is to put cut out sugar cookie, unbaked sugar cookies into the oven too warm. If they're too warm, then they'll kind of spread out and they won't hold their shape and they won't look very pretty. All right, so I have my tray of unbaked snowflake sugar cookies ready to go into the oven, 350 degrees for about 10 minutes or until they just begin to turn brown. You really want to be sure not to overbake these. Okay, I just pulled my cookies out of the oven. They look absolutely perfect because they were cool when they went into the oven. They held their shape beautifully. They're just barely golden at the edges, so we know they're going to be super soft and delicious. I am going to let these cool on this cooling rack completely until they have no more warmth left, and then I'll show you how to decorate these super quick and easily. In my bowl here, I have some sifted powdered sugar, and I'm just going to add a little bit of milk. You can also use water if you don't have milk. The milk just adds extra richness and body. And then I'm going to add some vanilla. Again, I'm using this vanilla paste, but you could totally use vanilla extract. And then I'm just grabbing a fork to mix it all together until it's nice and pourable, but still very thick. Because for these cookies, I just want to create some lines on the cookies to emphasize the snowflake shape. That will be the quickest and easiest way to get through decorating tons of cookies in a very short amount of time. However, if you wanted to go with the more traditional flood icing using this easy method, no royal icing involved, then go ahead and check out my video on easy cookie decorating. I'll link to that down below. Okay, so my icing is all mixed up. This is the consistency you're looking for. You want it to be very thick, but still pourable. You want it to kind of hold its shape when you drizzle it back into the bowl. And really make sure that you sift the powdered sugar beforehand. That's what's going to give this icing a nice smooth texture without any lumps. If you don't have any powdered sugar handy, I actually have a quick video on how to make your own powdered sugar in less than 5 minutes, so be sure to check that out. So now I'm actually going to transfer my icing to squeeze bottles or to piping bags to get ready to pipe onto my cupcakes. So with the help of a funnel, I just poured my icing into a squeeze bottle. I think these little squeeze bottles make it super easy to pipe on really nice, precise lines on my snowflake cookies, but you could also use a piping bag, whatever you have handy. So I'm just going to add some lines, some shapes to accentuate the snowflake shape. So I want to make sure that my icing is at the bottom of the squeeze bottle or the bag and that there's no big air bubbles. So I kind of just give it a little massage to get all those air bubbles out. And then I like to start at one tip of a kind of flake of snow and get the icing going in a little kind of dab and then let it start flowing, and so I can bring it across and then finish it at the other side. And I'm just going to repeat that for each little crossway section here. And this definitely takes a little bit of practice, so you might want to practice on a piece of parchment paper or the ugliest cookies in the batch first before you go for the nice pretty ones. Now for these smaller snowflakes, I'm just doing one little kind of V shape on each line. And you really don't have to worry about it being perfect, because once it's completed, the overall look is so pretty, and you can accentuate it with edible glitter or sprinkles or little sugar balls, just to give it an extra special touch. All right guys, so I just finished decorating my gorgeous snowflake cookies. They're so elegant and festive. Everyone will love them. They'll look beautiful on any holiday table, and no one has to know how easy they were. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. If you want a chance to win your very own KitchenAid Professional Series stand mixer, just like the one I used in this video, then go ahead and hop on over to my site. I will link down below directly to where you can enter to win. Thank you so much to KitchenAid for sponsoring this giveaway. We're so excited that it's part of the Holiday Baking Bonanza. Just a quick note, the giveaway is open to US residents only, and you have to be 18 years or older to enter. No purchase necessary. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon.